Hey there, it's Coach G, and today we're going to walk through a mobility workflow. So, what is mobility and why is it important? If you think about it, mobility is the ability for our joints to move and how far they move, which we call range of motion. And that's really important because it affects all the daily activities of our life. We bend down to pick something up. We reach up to put something on a shelf. If we have limited mobility in any of our joints, we could injure ourselves. We can get those aches and pains that we really don't know where they came from. And, we're not able to do the things that we want to do, right? I've got a little grandchild and I want to be able to pick her up and swing her around and, have a great time with her. So I'm going to teach you some really good basic movements for all of our joints. It takes about 10 minutes. You can do it once a week, twice a week. I encourage you to try it 3 times a week. I promise you that if you do a mobility workflow, even 10 minutes, 3 times a week in 1 month, you're just going to feel like a new person. So if you're ready, let's get started. All right, let's get started with some basic movements. We're going to go from our head right down. So let's just start by feeling grounded. Think about your feet pressing into the floor. And you want kind of 3 points of contact. You want your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. And just feel that you're soft and you're just settled and you're grounded in your space. Then just rest your hands, and I just want you to think about saying yes. Just feel all those vertebrae in your neck flexing and extending. And just go to your end of range of motion. So we're going to do that about 5 times. It's also a good one at your desk. Come back, reset, see how you feel. And now I want you to look to one side, center, other side, center. 2. One side might feel tighter than the other. In my case, that's an absolute. While you're here, just focus on your breathing. And I think 1 more makes 5. We're going to move down to our shoulders now. So let's go up, push back, down, and around. Let's do that for 5. These are slow. These are not quick movements. They're very intentional movements. Now I want you to push back, up, and come back around. The shoulder is what's called a ball and socket joint. So it fits in, and it is moving, and it moves in many directions. So we want to take it through all the different directions that our shoulders move naturally. So now we're going to do some cactus arms. So I want you to come up, get your elbows as close as you can together. The ideal is touching, and I want you to just stretch until you feel your shoulder blades touch at the back. Forward and exhale. Again. 2 more. Last one. Give your arms a little shake. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take one arm and I want it to be palm up, and the other hand and I want it to be palm down. And now all we're going to do is nice soft knees, just grounded. We're going to twist. As far as you can go. The magic thing about mobility, and I am the poster child, is if I do it consistently, week 2, you're going to find you're moving a little bit better. By week 4, you're like, this wasn't so hard at all. I'm ready for a little bit more advanced moves. All right, give those arms a shake. All right, now I think We're going to move, oh, we've got one more, and this is a bit spine, a bit shoulder. So again, grounded, soft knees. This is called a standing swimmer. So I want you to bring your arms up, and then as you bring them down, I want you to touch the small of your back. And inhale up, and touch the small of your back. Up, small of your back. Two more. Nice big inhale. Focus on your breathing. I always find this very relaxing as well. Good work. All right, let's move on. We're going to get down into the lower part of our body. So we're going to start on our hands and knees, and we're going to do some cat-cow. I'm sure you've heard cat-cow before. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into a tabletop position. So what I want is I want my hips stacked over my knees, and then I'm going to walk out, and I want my shoulders stacked over my wrist. I want you to think about your pelvis here. I don't want you to be doing this. I want you to have that tucked the entire time. That protects your lower back. And all you're going to do is you're going to slowly round. Think about your shoulders being drawn together, and then you're going to exhale. And let's do that 4 more times. Thinking about not overarching. Don't want to overextend our lower back. Think about resetting each time. And reset. Just take a minute here and see how you're feeling. How are things moving? Is it stiff? Is there an area that needs more work? So now we're going to work on they're called hip cars, and they're just hip circles. So we're going to push back, come around, and down. Do that for 5. More, and other side. I find that if you just engage your core, and what does that mean? Well, that means I'm going to draw my belly button in just a little and activate all my core muscles, and that's going to keep my body from being a wet noodle while I'm doing this. Now we're going to go the other way. So now we're going to come in and around for 5. And again, you may notice a big difference side to side. My hips are super tight, so your circles may be way better than mine. But we're all a work in progress. And it's progress, not perfection. All right, just take a minute here, take a second or two. Let's just go into a child's pose. Stretch out. Rock back up. Do a couple of these. Back up. And one more. And back up. All right, walk your hands back up to your knees. Now we're going to work into our hips. And that's a spot that's so tight for so many of us. And the reason is because we sit too much, right? We have a desk job. We're sitting in front of a computer. We're sitting in front of a screen. We're watching television. You know, the last couple of years have really kind of dealt us that blow where we're not stretching and activating those hip flexors. So what happens is they get weak, right? They're not being used. So by activating them and doing this intentional movement with our hip flexors, you're going to notice a really big difference. And a lot of those aches and pains in this area are going to suddenly vanish. So we're going to start with just a half kneel. So I want you to bring one leg up. And again, that knee is going to be stacked over your elbow. You can have your foot flat. If you want a little bit more, it can be up. And all I want you to do, so for the first 5, I just want you to rock forward and back. We're not arching. Watch my back. My back isn't going like this. I'm not trying to do that. All I'm doing is I'm thinking about
drawing a parallel line with my hip, going towards the wall. And see how that feels for you. You may have a lot of tightness and almost discomfort here. I don't ever want you to feel pain though. You are going to feel a bit of a stretch and you might feel a bit of discomfort. If that feels good to you, now we can just slowly float our arms up with each of those moves, thinking about keeping your pelvis tucked through those movements. Just rest here for a second. Bring this leg down. Now let's switch sides. This leg goes up. Think about your form. Where do you want to be? If you're having a bit of a balance issue, you're better to keep your legs a little bit further apart, because the closer your legs are together, then you're going to have to balance. Again, that little bit of engagement in the core makes a really, really big difference. So let's get set up. Let's be at this 90-90. And again, just rock. My left side is my tight side. So this is always a bit of a challenge for me. And I notice it when I don't do it. When I don't do it, I think, why did I do this? Let's do one more on this side. Reset. Feel how you feel. Get that feedback from your body. And now let's just let our arms float up. Excellent. I'm going to throw one more little bit advanced move for you to try. I'm going to face you this time. So now we're going to go back into our half kneel, right? Make sure you're nice and tall, everything's square. Looking at the monitor, I can see I wasn't square. And, when you do an exercise, form is always, that's why I call it form and function, right? Function is the mobility part of it. Our form is essential, because if I was twisted and I was out of sync, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to either aggravate a problem that's there, or I might even create one. So make sure you're in that nice square position. Everything is where it needs to be to get the maximum benefit out of the exercise. So we've gone forward, we've gone up. Now we're going to go forward and we're going to twist and come back. Reset, and again, twist. As you get more comfortable, it'll get a little more fluid. The other side. And switch legs. So coming back. Again, find that center balance. Find where you're square. Make sure you're up nice and tall. Your pelvis is tucked under. Always even do a couple of warm-ups here. Go, yep, that's where I need to be, right? Now we're going to go back into that twist. So we're going to go cross the forward leg first. Ready? Cross. Reset. Cross. Reset. 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Now the other way. 3, 4, reset, and 1 more. 5. And come down to kneeling. Great work today, guys. So again, I encourage you, this is just something slow and intentional. You can do as many reps as you want or as many rounds as you want. I find it, taking 5 minutes in the morning kind of gets that body moving and ready for the day, or it's a great wind down before you go to sleep at night, especially if you have trouble sleeping. So make that commitment to yourself. Live a better quality of life and integrate your form and your function. I'll see you next time.